Hi. Welcome to another video with Ms. Steph. I don't know if I'm going to use this for beta or if I'm going to use this to launch the Adventures of May. So let's treat this like it's going to be one of the May videos. And in May, I'll be really discussing with you the importance of supporting our organization, Triple F Empowerment Inc. We are a 501c3 organization that provides camp, classes, community, and consulting to the Harlem community. Now, do we do more than just support the Harlem community? Yes. That being said, we are stationed, in Harlem, and so the majority of our in-person services are performed and distributed to Harlem. And so I'm here doing a cleanup after one of the traveling science teacher sessions. And traveling science teacher, I go into locations either during the school day or during an after school situation. This particular activity was held during after school at a school that works with another organization in the community. So this particular site is very interesting because I serve at the request of the school as well as at the request of another organization here in Harlem. And so I'm here cleaning up. Yes, you're wondering, what is this? Miss Steph, that looks like a craft. I know it looks like a craft. It's not. This right here, this is chemical engineering for children, okay? So this is DIY puff paint. I have my puff paint recipe, my no-fail puff paint recipe already posted here on YouTube. And if you watch this on Instagram, such is life. But it's on YouTube, and the no-fail puff paint recipe contains shaving cream to make it puffy, glue to make it sticky, food coloring to make it colorful. And a fourth component, which is why it matters particularly for today, because the way we did this was at an experimental kind of situation. Our fourth ingredient is cornstarch. Cornstarch gives the product some stability so that though it is puffy, right? So when the children paint, I'm going to show you. So you see that there's puffiness to it. There's texture to it, okay? And we made 2 samples, okay, so we made 2 formulations, and I use the word formulation with them, okay? So we have 2 formulations that we made. We did a shaving cream, food coloring, and glue formulation. That's sample A. That's how I used to make puff paint. And for the last several years, my no-fail recipe contains shaving cream, cornstarch, glue, and food coloring. We know that in baking, flours are the structure, the binder, the thickener for things, right? And so for this particular activity, the way I did it with the children for the afternoon, and there's a lot of logic around why I do this type of activity this time of year and all that type of stuff. But the way that we did it is that we mixed two formulations together, as well as 2 different colors. I had several helpers throughout the class period. Every child got an opportunity to stir the formulations together to get to feel what happened. And then you saw on the plates, we distributed, right? We had 2 formulations, but these 2 colors only are the sample A, and these 2 colors are the sample B. So that is actually a way of labeling with children. So that's a tip. Use colors to label with them if for whatever reason it becomes a challenge to write labels on it, right? So I'm passing these things out on a plate, and so trying to put sample names and what's inside it, all that type of stuff can be involved and take more time than you really have for that particular activity, or than you just simply want to take. Because like over here, when I come into a classroom and I see this, that's my indicator, if I didn't already know, because I've already told you about my vendor tip to be in intense communication with your intentional and active communication with your sites, because this lets me know that these kids are testing. That helps me decide what kind of activities I want to do, whether or not I want to have them do a lot of writing, whether or not I want to be talking so much during class. So that matters, because when it comes to deciding how we're going to label and identify our samples, because these are samples. I know it just looks like some colorful stuff and it looks super fun to play with and touch and all that type of stuff, especially if you're working with younger children and you have a longer period of time. They can actually feel the texture if you want to do that with them. That's another part of the activity that you can do. But again, trying to label stuff with actual proper labels can become challenging. But if you say such and such, the green and the yellow are going to be sample B, and the orange and the purple will be sample A, done. Then we identify on the board for everybody, on the smart board. I love using the smart board. I use it as much as I can at the sites. So anytime a site has a smart board, I typically will use it. You see how now most of the writing responsibility is now on me. Yes, I do believe in having children do lab reports and all that type of stuff. Anybody who follows us for summer camp knows that. That being said, do I have them do it at the end of a long day during testing season? Unless I have to, unless I really, really need them to demonstrate for me an ability to construct a lab report. No, I don't. I make it a point, especially I'm at this site, I'm doing after school. And during the second period that I have here at this location, because I actually have 2 back-to-back classes. I work with K, and then I work with some of the upper elementary, like the lower upper elementary, 3 and 4s, 3rd and 4th graders on Tuesdays. And then on Wednesday I come, after my very adventure of a long day. All of us have had a long day by the time I get here on Wednesday, working with 5th grade. So do I have these kids do writing activities when it becomes unnecessary? No. Do I believe in the importance of being able to write a lab report? Absolutely. Not this time of year. The amount of writing that they're having to do and the stress that may come, it's just not necessary. And plus, fun fact, the muscles that you need to write and to practice your writing, you use when you're doing crafts and when you're doing painting and all that type of stuff. So, yeah. Anywho, traveling science teacher here, Miss Steph. I thought I would just come on and go ahead and kick off the May videos. It's still technically, I'm filming this in April, but towards the end of April. But this will be part of the May videos that will start to come out. And like I said, at the beginning of the video, I will be talking to you more. I'll be shifting more about talking to you around fundraising and how you support us. And so when you see and you log into our, well, not log in, but go to when you click donate, and it takes you to our Give Butter page. Now you have an understanding of when you're clicking and you're saying you're wanting to come alongside and fill in the gap that's present when it comes to serving a traveling science teacher site. You can think about what I did here today. Traveling science teacher comes, we come on site, we respond to a gap, as it were. Some schools have larger gaps than others, and some schools just, because they have me coming, no longer have a gap, and they have me come every year because they know that their students are being well served and they don't want to fall into a gap, because they do have a science teacher here that I actually coordinate with on a regular basis. She and I communicate. She actually requested my presence at something that I'll be doing here on Thursday. So I am thankful for this particular location. This is one of the first locations that became traveling science teacher sites. It became a traveling science teacher site And it's based off of, like I said, contract. If you are interested in supporting us, definitely when you go and give butter, you're going to click on that option. You can also leave a note for me to communicate that you would like your support to go towards traveling science teacher. And supporting traveling science teacher means that you're supporting us with the materials that are needed, because if you can imagine the amount of shaving cream that I purchase is in bulk. I order shaving cream in on the order of 12 cans a purchase, because I use it in so many things, especially this time of year, because again, we're doing a lot of tactile activities. Food coloring is not a small expense in the world these days. So yeah, so you're giving one to materials. Other things you are supporting, if you're giving directly to traveling science teacher, you are supporting the need around salary for that part of the salary for the individual, to go travel, to take time to write lessons. I do a lot of lesson planning. I do a lot of lesson adjustment. As you can imagine, doing this lesson earlier today with a group of kindergartners, which is what I did at 2:45, 3 o'clock. Then I brought the same materials downstairs. In this location is I come downstairs to come to the older kids. It's a completely different activity. Technically same name, very different activity. And so not only is it the time, staff pay for time on site, but planning time, travel time. So traveling science teacher, if you specifically support traveling science teacher, you're supporting for materials, you're supporting staffing, and you're supporting transportation. Because when bringing large backpacks of equipment back and forth to different locations, though some locations are easily accessible via public transportation, it might not be easy or reasonable to travel to a location with bags and to have to come upstairs on public transportation. And so those are the three main things that you're supporting when you support the traveling science teacher. And then of course, if you choose the option to say, hey, I'm going to give to like all things science club, you literally are giving to all things science club, whatever happens to be the highest need at that point in time that the donation comes in, that's where it goes. So yeah, I really appreciate all of you. I'm super glad to be here. This particular location, I have been, I want to say, going on year 10. And I think this coming fall, should they invite me for another year, it'll be like the 10th year that I've been here. So that means the fifth graders were born the year I started working with this group, with this particular school, right? So these are things that we look at. There's a longevity of Triple F Empowerment Inc., in the Harlem community. We're really making an impact. Children are really experiencing growth. They're really having a good time when they do science. The schools that we work with invite us, like I say, to come to, hey, Ms. Steph, are you available to come? We've got a wellness fair for our families. Can you come do an engagement? And that particular thing, for the majority of organizations and majority of educational partners that we have, that is something, even though it is part of traveling science teacher, we don't actually charge them for that. So that's another thing that you're supporting. When you support traveling science teacher, you're supporting the materials, the staff time, and the transportation time. Because when I come and I do a science fun table at a community event or with a school, I definitely have to frankly get into a cab, because I'm carrying multiple things. And the event that's happening Thursday, I actually had to start my way over here sooner and actually packed and prepped slime. There's a slime video that will come out that actually already came out. If you're watching whenever you're watching that slime video already was released, and I was talking about how I modified that slime, but that's time as well, right? And that slime and all of the materials were pre-packed, and I had to make plans and make a decision and leverage one of the relationships that I have here, because I brought the stuff today already. And as I've said, as you can see, today's April 29th. This is being filmed on April 29th. Brought the materials here so that on Thursday, because I am coming from another place, I'm expecting to come from another place, so that the materials will be here. Since I'm already going to be here later than the event will start, I didn't want there to be any delays, and I have the materials waiting for me here. So yeah, all these moving parts. It's super fun. It takes a lot of energy, mentally and physically, spiritual energy too, to get all this stuff done. But DIY puff paint, that's what the traveling science teacher has been doing this particular week. And I am thankful to you for watching, if you've watched thus far all the way through this. And I appreciate those who contribute. This is an official ask. Please support us at www.tfempowerment.org. Your contribution of $100 is kind of the average contribution if you're looking to support us monthly. Your contribution of $275 would help with the gap of what's needed on a weekly basis per child for summer camp, because no family actually pays the amount of money that it cost us to run summer camp. That's one of our programs that we run as a partnership with parents when it comes to finances, but we do not charge parents full price, okay? And your contribution of $38 helps sponsor a child for a Saturday Science adventure. We thank you and hope to continue to have you join these videos and watch these videos throughout the month of May. I'll be discussing in depth how where the dollars go and what they make it happen. This week, DIY puff paint is what happened. Chemical engineering for young children. Thank you for watching and have an absolutely wonderful day.